Hi there, this is Gieson with the Bay Area News Group, and this is Gamester, the most enthusiastic video game show on the internet. But before we get started, I have to warn you guys. If you're planning on playing Batman Arkham City, it's best to play Batman Arkham Asylum first. That's the original. That's Rocksteady's first game. It takes about 15 hours or so, but it sets up so much of the plot and the gameplay that goes into Arkham City itself. Quite frankly, you're just thrown into this universe. It'll be really hard for novices to get into Batman. Rocksteady takes their award-winning gameplay formula from Arkham Asylum and kind of expands it. Keep in mind, it's not Grand Theft Dark Knight. You don't go around in cars and just, bust heads and everything. It captures a feeling of soaring through the air over the buildings and chasing after criminals on rooftops. But what separates the two superhero titles is gameplay and story. Arkham City is simply superior in every single way. It's night and day, man. You play as Bruce Wayne, and you are abducted and thrown into the prison, and being a billionaire in a prison full of criminals, not a good idea. And he's in there not to take down the Joker or the Penguin or Two-Face, who are all kind of fighting each other for territory, and he's actually there to find out what Hugo Strange is up to. He's the psychiatrist from Arkham Asylum, and although the premise is a little ridiculous, it also affords Rocksteady a chance to expand Batman's moveset and bring him into an open world. To get around, they had to make some changes to the gameplay. Instead of just running to different areas, he has a grappling hook and has a glide combination. And you fly through the air, and it does a good job of getting you from A to B really quickly because the world is fairly huge, 5 times larger than the original. In addition to that, now that Batman can explore a bigger world, he also has new attacks. He can dive bomb foes from skyscrapers. They add a lot to the free-flowing combat system. It's one of Rocksteady's trademarks. It's actually what made combat in Batman so good. You just press buttons and you can do some amazing things, and the animations flow and it's beautiful when you see it. Because you're fighting dozens upon dozens upon dozens of enemies all at the same time, they had to add a few more tricks to Batman's arsenal. And now you can, instead of just throwing batarangs, you can throw ice bombs, he can shoot electricity to stun foes. And it all works well. It kind of muddies up the simple elegance of those controls, but it's something that's really needed, especially when you're fighting guys that carry knives, that are armored, or who have shields. Those expecting to see stealth and detective elements will be happy to know that it's still there, but they take on a less prominent role. The game's so chock full of content that Rocksteady had to add in new elements. For example, there are puzzles where Batman has to get across a lake, and he'll actually toss an ice grenade and create an ice raft. Even if you finish a single-player campaign, there's still so much more to do. There are side missions and collectibles. And when we're talking about side missions, there are actually full mini campaigns almost, where you fight Zsasz or kind of figure out what the Riddler is trying to do. Those are almost just as satisfying as a single player campaign. In addition, you get to play as Catwoman. Meow, what? The thing about Catwoman is that she's not just a female version of Batman. They don't just add a Catwoman skin on a Batman character. She has her own moveset. She has her own way of moving through the world. I get a kick out of the game when you go through a dungeon. You see pathways that weren't available to Batman, but they are available to Catwoman. She can climb underneath grates and use her whip to swing around, almost like Batman does with his grappling hook. Once again, Rocksteady goes above and beyond to create one of the greatest Batman titles ever. Listen, folks, there are superhero titles and there are Rocksteady titles. Batman Arkham City is what every superhero game should aspire to be. And that's why I'm giving the game 4 out of 4 stars. I am Batman. I'm Gieson with the Bay Area News Group, and what a horrible night to have a curse.